as a ex ETH maxi, the man in that hold ETH, they're done, bro. They're done. Like they're at rock bottom. You say it's holding steady. It's not holding steady. It's just not following through because I'm no criminal. But if that was me, bro, I wouldn't write a paper to publish the vulnerability. I wouldn't. I would go to Zcash and I'd be like, yo, listen, you man, I've found something. You either pay me or I write a paper and everyone finds out. You know how every single IPO I've ever bought has gone down. I bought the Coinbase IPO, it went down. Anything. Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, you IPO, it goes down. We can expect to see this IPO go down probably like 50% within the first year.
The content presented in this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice, and listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research or consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions.
Crypto flip. In this episode, we'll be exploring why one of the biggest privacy coins fell nearly 50% because of what AI found. We'll also be discussing the only cryptocurrency that had experienced positive inflows when BTC and Sol had experienced negative ones. Jim Cramer, the famous analyst, says that Bitcoin and gold are getting liquidated in order to fund the SpaceX IPO, so we'll definitely be touching on that. And that Avalanche Treasury went public on the NASDAQ and crashed. Also, we'll be discussing why it actually fell 38%. But we'll be getting into all of that in a little minute. So make sure you stay locked. But before we do that, you know what we have to do? We have to have a quick convo, touch base with our friends, the Dudens, and get into some crypto confessions. So let's get into it. I had a $110,000 a year job working in finance in my first year out of uni. I discovered meme coins in 2024 and made over $300,000 in the first 5 months in the trenches. I decided to quit my finance job and go all in full time on meme coins. I lost it all to leverage, casino, and futures. Now, I'm starting over at 25 and I can't find any entry-level jobs the last 6 months despite having 2 degrees. I feel like my life is truly over. What do you man make of that?
You know, before I weigh in on this guy, I just want to ask the logical question, yeah. You made 300K, like, I guess that's enough money for you to think like this is going to be a thing that I can do full time and at least I can fall back on the 300 bands. But you clearly had no risk management because any logical person with risk management would say, okay, I made 300. I started with 10 grand. I'm going to start again with 10 grand and keep that 300, like that 290 as a buffer. This guy went back in and thought he was James Wim and got James Wimmed. At the end of the day, bro, like you went leverage trading as a logical step for you to make money in this world. Like you messed up, man. Good on you for the first 300 bags, but for the rest of it, thank you for pumping my bags, you know?
The curse of the meme coin strikes again. It strikes again, boys, because the design is actually ingenious. Because if you think about it, like, it's one of the reasons why we failed to have a good altcoin season because, I mean, that became the shiny new toy that everybody wanted to try to stick something on the wall, hoping it sticks. But, I mean, it struck again because it convinces Donny to live a good paying, decent job. I mean, yeah, as a first job out of uni, after getting 2 degrees, you're on 110K a year. That's a decent start. You know what I mean? What skill convinced you to live a good paying job that could have kept you steadily going? And also, by having an income will let you know how hard it is to make money. Rather than thinking, yeah, it's a video game, I just buy this cow coin or World Cup coin and then all of a sudden I'm a billionaire. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, this is not a movie. And, I mean, you're still young. You can still come out from this. But, man, what a blunder. You quit your job, jump into meme coin, lost it all, went leverage trading, jumped to casino, and then now you're back to ground zero and you have no job. At least you're not in debt. That's the only thing that I think is saving grace. He's not in like a mad debt where he owes $100,000 in credit card or credit card fees or whatever. So, yeah, I hope he bounced back, but I think out of all the previous convention, it looks like it might bounce back. Because it's got 2 degrees. Surely it'll find a job, even though obviously the job market's a bit, weak at the moment. I think eventually we'll land on his feet. Hopefully, let's make the same mistake again. Harris.
So let's break this down like surgically. 110K out of the gate in uni. Now, you didn't know about them dark times back in the 08 housing market crash. Fresh grads just applying to anything, getting told you're underqualified, overqualified. And this guy just walking into it is too easy. So 110 bets, congratulations. That's a very, very good start out of uni. Obviously, you're probably in America where things are a lot more inflated, but regardless, you're doing the thing. Congratulations. Now, you say to yourself, no, let me get into the meme coin trenches, let me grind, and then you make 300 bets. Like, yeah, well done. You're doing a lot. You're maximizing your time outside of your 9 to 5. So, kudos. You build that up to $300,000. That's no chump change. Now, this is where we really need to analyze what's happening. Because at $300,000 and at 110K a year, you should be in a position whereby you're in your way to being set up for life. Now, you're not obviously going to stay for the rest of your life, but it's you're well on your way. You're well on the way to your first meal. And everyone says that's the hardest. And I was thinking, the thing that must have gone through this guy's mind is 300K is cool, but you know what's cooler? 30 mil. 100x leverage on 300,000. Let's go. Because what else? Because with meme coins, there's a bit of a cap. You can make money in meme coins, yes, but the more you make, the harder it is to make more. Because you can't withdraw all of the money because you'll crash the meme coin. So it's a bit like catch-22 at a certain level. So unless you obviously want to just keep putting in your 10 grand and whatever else and then riding it. But he probably felt, nah, man, that's too small. What I need to do is start getting to leverage. What I need to do is start gambling. Where's poly market? These are the things that I need to start doing. So obviously you blow up in your face and you are where you are, but let this be a cautionary tale to those who actually make it in the next bull market. Beware. But with that being said, welcome back to the Crypto Flip Podcast. I'm your host, Harris King, and I am joined once again with my co-hosts, Ricardo and Bledgy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and Hype if you've got access to that. And if you're listening on audio platforms, don't forget to leave a review because it helps us create new episodes. And if it's your first time listening, we are 3 individual investors giving our take on the market to help you become a better trader and or investor within crypto. So let's get into the first story. So over the past few weeks, we've been talking about one of the most explosive privacy coins on the market. And it's not Monero, even though Monero has traditionally been quite good. It's actually Zcash. However, Zcash over the past 4 years has had a dirty little secret. And it was recently exposed by... Now, I'm not talking about a human being called Claude. I'm talking about Claude AI. Because what actually happened is Claude AI found a critical vulnerability allowing unlimited minting and the Zcash token. And it went unnoticed for 3 years. But when people found out, they weren't forgiving. They were selling in droves, where initially damped to 30%, and overall, I think it damped, which is insane, considering it was a very short. What I want to know is, do you think that Zcash can actually bounce back? And do you think there's a future there? Or is it a wrap? And should investors stay away?
So let me just run some background. Zcash is a privacy coin. Privacy coins do well when scammers are hot. Scammers are hot when the market is doing madness. If you think this is the end of Zcash, you have lost your mind, bro. Because that's like saying it's the end of scammers in crypto. And them man there, they don't sleep, bro.
So couldn't they just get like Monero or something?
And I get it, there is Monero, but you want to have choice, bro. You want to have choice. Zcash has this thing, some tornado mixing. Like, if we're trying to evade the police, if you're trying to evade the feds with your stolen crypto proceeds, you want to use Zcash and Monero and any other privacy coin you can use. You want to mix and match as much as possible. But yeah, I think the vulnerability, the fact that Claude found it, I want to know who ran the script or who said to Claude, point Claude at it to say, hey, find me a vulnerability.
It was Taylor Hornsby. He's a security researcher, and he works for Shoulder Labs. So he just used Claude. He wanted to review the Zcash Orchard privacy tool, and that's when they found a bug, and obviously published it, and they acted quite quickly. So I give them that. I think it's one of the reasons why the coin is not on the floor. They acted very quickly, very.
That adds some great color. First of all, hold tight that guy, because I'm no criminal, but if that was me, bro, I wouldn't write a paper to publish the vulnerability. I wouldn't. I would go to Zcash and I'd be like, yo, listen, you man, I've found something. You either pay me or I write a paper and everyone finds out. So the fact that my man just wrote the paper, like, bro, we need more of you in the world because I am not you. Cool. They responded quickly. Love that. I think the vulnerability was patched in what, like was it 4 hours? I don't know. But yeah, so they fixed forward, and that's all you can expect in software. I don't think this is a long-term L for Zcash. I think it's a short-term, we had a little blunder. Bro, isn't this the equivalent? It's kind of not, but it's kind of the equivalent of something like Facebook or WhatsApp going down. Like, you remember it goes down, but in 10 years' time, you're not going to remember.
I think it's a bit more deep than that, bro.
I hate.
The equivalent of what you're saying would be that the blockchain went down for a few hours.
I hate. But what's it?
Your account information got scraped and put on the dark web.
Bro, that's happened on Ledger. That's happened. I still get phone calls. People are still buying Ledgers.
True.
Bro, you know how people in crypto have short memories? I'm going to do this right now, and I'm going to ask you, man, a question.
Go on.
What price do you think FTX is at?
I know it pumped recently because he asked Trump about trying to get a pardon.
And it got rejected. So he's probably back down to 79p.
All right, so at peak, FTX was $77, yeah?
Yeah.
7 cents. The fact that it still has any value at all, bro, just shows that certain man are just, I mean, yeah, the value is really low. And it's still there. People in crypto, they forget. And this is the hardest thing in crypto to forget. I just feel like people forget about this Zcash thing.
But so if you think he's not going to forget, then doesn't this present an opportunity to buy?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, people don't buy Zcash to invest, bro. They buy Zcash to spin it to another crypto to get out. So, like, if the price of Zcash was ever pumping, like, ridiculously, then to me, that screams something crazy is going on when people are investing in this thing as, like, a company. And I'm looking at the chart now, and minus its original inception, where it was at some crazy price, like, it holds a fairly stable value, and it goes up when people are like, yeah, I'm gonna trade. It has it like $500, $690, all the way down to $430 now. Bro, I'd buy this. Because this thing ain't going nowhere. And yeah, it's been delisted from a bunch of exchanges, but it's still on Binance. It's still on OKX. It's still on Coinbase.
Yeah, it's not going nowhere. And the reason it's not going nowhere is because these hackers will keep it alive. Think about it. They need it. Why would they kill it? And you can't just bank all on Monero. I think having variety of privacy coin is good. By the way, I want to say something that I think we kind of touched on. This Holsby guy is a good guy, bro. He's the best, man, because he actually did a test where, like, he took the exploited circuit that's connected to the cryptographic protocol, and then he ran a test in his test environment to see if it will actually print unlimited token. And he did print unlimited counterfeit Zcash. And the dummy still published a report and didn't try to spin the thing and deploy it. Oh my God. Nah, he's a good man still. But he probably knows it's better to keep the project alive than try to kill it. Because if he did that, I think the damages would be a bit more. The coin would have recovered this fast. Because the recovery was quick. Like, it was down. But then again, if you didn't have bad orders ready, you probably didn't catch that. So, yeah. Shout out to my man. What you said?
Bro, be honest, both of you, man, yeah. If you were the one that found that vulnerability, what would you have done?
Not gonna lie, I'm printing tokens still. on printing tokens. I'm not gonna lie, but this guy is a good man. I said
It makes sense to print tokens because if people find out, they just fork canoe. So
I've already sold. All have been out.
Bro, we're talking about printing tokens with a strategy. We're talking about printing a 10K of tokens every 6, 7 hours, 10 hours. Like, bro, market liquidity for Zcash is deep. Like, we're talking 100% on mid Bolly within the last 24 hours on Binance. Your 10 grand is not doing nothing, but it's a big deal for you. Like 10 grand every 6 hours. Bro. Yo, you know the bees you see like, I won't say if I won the lottery, but there'll be signs. Yeah, bro. I'd be putting up to this podcast in my helicopter, bro.
Now the fact that you take the podcast in the helicopter, fam. Okay, you can't hear it on the blades. By the way, with that said though, I do think, I mean, the previous high that it was having was around at 639. I don't think we surpassed that anymore. I think there's probably going to be a key rejection around 500, and I will actually look to play short rather than buy orders, in my opinion. I think, yes, it's not going nowhere. I don't think it's going to $1, $0, whatever. I mean, think about it. If FTT is still around, I mean, Zcash is here. Like, I don't think it's going to go down to 0 because it's been patched. They did a quick, soft fork. And then they obviously patched the vulnerability in the cryptographic protocol. And then they obviously activated it again with the corrected circuit that obviously had the buggy stuff. So it's all good now. The reason why I'm thinking it's going to get rejected around that $500 range is because I don't see where the strength is coming from, because stocks has been doing all the dancing, and once S&P 500 have a proper correction, BTC will feel that impact, and if it's feeling that impact, I assume so the previously going to get hit as well, because they all usually get hit. So that's why I'm thinking there should be a rejection soon as we range higher and higher.
And something else that may be getting rejected is Bitcoin and gold. As Jim Craner says, they are bad money and they're being liquidated for SpaceX's IPO, which officially launches today, which is June the 12th. So what do you make of that? Do you think that we're experiencing a liquidity suck? And another gold actually lost some liquidity and the price dipped as well. And Bitcoin hasn't been strong recently. Do you think people are gearing up for this IPO? I know a lot of retail investors are very excited about it. There's been a lot of things happening. The FTC, Fair Trades Commission, I think, in America have scrapped certain legislation allowing retail investors to get in without, having certain safeguards in place. I think before they needed to have 25K but now you can just put in a minimum amount of like 2,000 and other things which have effectively lowered the barrier to get into this IPO. Do you think that this is something that people should be worried about in the short term?
I actually agree with Jim Cramer. I do think the recent correction we've seen across the stock market, S&P 500, BlackRock's ETFs outflow. I saw BlackRock put an order of $5 billion of SpaceX IPO, and that's just a light transaction for them. They probably want to buy more, but they want to see how it debuts, and they already bought some probably from like seed round, doing venture capital round funded. So yeah, they just added a little bit more size to their portfolio, so it was likewise to them. So I'm thinking they're not borrowing money to do this. What they can do is probably liquidate some stuff and use that money to buy a brand new stuff that they can sell to their clients. So where is this money coming from? Obviously, they're selling some of the holding. They sold some BTC, sold some gold, and sold some other bunch of stocks that have been heating up for the past couple of weeks. What did we expect? You know what I mean? I mean, there was a lot of speculation online on X saying, it's going to be the biggest liquidity withdrawal event ever. Yeah, it's a bit blown up on crypto Twitter because obviously everyone is looking for a conspiracy because everyone on X trying to go viral. Obviously, I wouldn't buy it now into a SpaceX IPO, but I think long term, once smart money got out, people go ready to invest that way early, get their money out. I think because it's debuting at 135, I mean, might go up, might go down. I think it'll probably go up before it cools off. For 100%, the old resale liquidation. That's why I feel like there's more pain comes to BTC, because even though there's rumors that the Iran Iran-US peace deal is going to be signed soon in the next G7 meeting, according to one of the senior executives. There's still has been conflicting reports that we have seen online that you can never be sure, because it's like they have an agreement that something's in place, and then all of a sudden they're attacking each other again. Trump is swearing he's gonna retaliate against Iran, so it's like it's just all up and down. But until it signs, I think we could expect some relief across all asset class. But once S&P 500 corrects, I mean the pain on BTC is gonna be. If you want to get a quick ride, bro, I'll be very, very cautious trying to invest in a SpaceX IPO, in my opinion. Rick?
Bro, I am not touching this IPO with a barge pole. You know how every single IPO I've ever bought has gone down. I bought the Coinbase IPO, it went down. Anything. Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, you IPO, it goes down. We can expect to see this IPO go down probably like 50% within the first year. And that's cool. Personally, for me, I've learned my lesson, and I haven't done the research to figure out why this IPO might be different. Yeah, we've seen gold hit a 7-month low, and to me that screams people are moving their money from gold into something else. We see BTC drop down, but it's not like we've seen BTC drop down drastically over the last week. Like this kind of happened like the week before. But yeah, I think Jim Cramer is just shouting out like people are moving money from other assets to join the SpaceX IPO. I would love to short the SpaceX IPO with leverage. However, I know for a fact I will get wiped out before that becomes in profit.
Like, yeah, under X leverage, yeah?
Bro, this thing can do a 10x. This thing, not even a 10x, so that would be ridiculous. It would be like the most valued company in the world. This thing could probably do a 50-80% increase before it drops 50% from its original IPO value. So personally, bro, and there's no price data, so you can't even use any of that to decide whether you're gonna go long or short. But if you're gonna invest in this SpaceX like IPO from day one, first of all, you're a braver man than me. Two, if you're gonna jump in and you're jumping in short from the very beginning, then yeah, bro, you must just like seeing massively high red negative numbers, because you will be negative before you're positive. If you think you can trade this and you can catch the pump before the drop, then bro, you can see into the future. You're basically Elon himself. So yeah, I'm staying away from this. I have literally no edge jumping into this IPO.
You know what, yeah? Even after all the things you said, people will still jump on buy this IPO because of how hot the stock market has been. Like, when people have money to throw around, they will throw around. So people that have money to throw around that have made millions of them in NVIDIA and all that kind of stuff, they will throw things around. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, one more thing. You know what the SpaceX IPO reminds me of?
What's that?
You know how we all know when you're in a bull market, you get in a cab, the cab driver's telling you about Bitcoin. You go, oh, bosh, the driver's telling you about Bitcoin. You get a bill from your roof cousin twice. Yeah. Divorced your cousin years ago, and he's like, yeah, you're that crypto guy, right? That's basically what's happening with SpaceX. Everyone and their dog are talking about that SpaceX launch. So, bro, how is that not a signal for a reduction in the market? I don't know. I'd be man just gonna jump in willy-nilly and say, yeah, this is it.
Just to touch on the IPO briefly, and then getting into how that affects, Bitcoin and strategy, etc. I think that it's going to be very, very volatile. It's debuting at, I think, the most expensive valuation that we've ever seen. And a lot of that value that's been created has already been realized in the private markets. I only see retail as exit liquidity in the majority of situations when it comes to this IPO right now, especially in the short term. But in terms of how it affects Bitcoin, crypto, and the likes, I think a lot of people will probably see their attention going to SpaceX, and I think it will be further compounded by the action that's been happening in equities overall, and there may be a lot of FOMO. I also think there'll be a lot of opportunities within crypto, certainly meme coins, things like that. That will probably be popping off, and there'll be opportunities in that side of things as well. So yeah, I think all around, even if you're not getting involved directly, I think in adjacent spheres there will be opportunities to realize some value and actually make some money from this event. Something else that has been making money is ETH, because the ETH inflows for the spot ETF on June 8th was positive at $82.37 million, whereas Bitcoin and Sol were negative. Bitcoin down $91 million and Sol down $471 million, which is no chump change. Now, obviously, these things go up and down all the time, but I'm curious to hear what you think the reason is for ETH being the only one to be positive, whilst others are negative.
As a ex-ETH maxi, the man in that hold ETH, they're done, bro. They're done. Like they're at rock bottom. You say it's holding steady. It's not holding steady. It's just not falling through the floor. Like the people that held Solana, they are degens. They're official degens. The people that hold ETH, they're the people that have been in crypto since like 2014, 2015, 2016, up to 2020. They saw the IPO, the ICO, boom and bust. They saw NFTs come and die. They saw DeFi try, do some stuff. They saw Deepin from last year do nothing. The man that hold Ethereum now, bro, I would bet money that the average Ethereum investor is just numb. They're just numb to crazy market moves.
Is the average ETH investor the same as the average ETF investor, though? I feel like so
ETH investor is definitely not the same as the average ETF investor. However, like it's the same type of mentality. It's like, great, Bitcoin is number one. Yes, everybody, let's invest as much as we can into Bitcoin. But there is also Ethereum, which should move with the market, which hasn't moved with the market, but historically always moves with the market. But in my mind, I'm like, what's the point of getting out of ETH now? I'm just looking at the price. The lowest price we've had over the last year is now, bro. Like, this is the lowest price ETH has been for the last year. And when you look back at the chart, ETH hasn't been at this price since 2021. Revisited in 22, 25, just under 2,000 in 2026, earlier this year. But like if you look at the support, I just can't see ETH dropping drastically beyond this point. And that's just purely based on price action. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other things that will go in. But yeah, for me, I see why the man them are holding on to it. If ETH drops 20% from here, we're talking like just over $1,000, and I don't know, I feel like we have bigger things to worry about. And if them man there sell, yeah, I feel like we just need a big negative ETH catalyst to push us any lower than like 1,500, 1,400. And in my mind, that's time, Vitalik coming out and say, he's going to have to take a break from the ETH project, which I can't imagine that guy would do because he lives and breathes this.
I think it'll bounce back, but it would be a very aggressive seller. And I wouldn't blame it.
It'll be like Cardano all over again, but I don't have much to say on this, man. Like, ETH has been so boring in this market, and like, what's the difference between its inflow compared to BTC and Solana? What's the difference, right, Aris? Is it like 100 million more inflow, or is it 50, 10? On the scale of things, it's just a matter of just maybe people are not willing to offset as much of ETH right now, but once the cascade sell-off happens, ETH will get touched.
It may not be time to get into ETH, but maybe it's time to get into AVAX, because Avalanche recently launched on the NASDAQ. So the Avalanche Treasury AVAT, AVAT, just went public on the NASDAQ, then crashed 38% on day one. Meanwhile, AVAX trades at a 5-year low and is down 95% from its 2021 peak. Now, you might be wondering, how did the Avalanche Treasury actually go live on the NASDAQ? Well, they merged with another company via a SPAC, and that's how they managed to do that. So, yeah, do you think this could revitalize the AVAX ecosystem by attracting new investors in the equities market and then using that money to deploy within its own ecosystem? Or do you just This is just a crash grab to retail investors in the equities market. And will you be buying?
Buying, almost certainly cash grab. AVAX. Brother, AVAX's price, top of the line, was 134. They're currently trading at $6.6. Bro, even when we had the massive pumps last year, and we know that all the coins that will survive longer term actually made new all-time highs last year, AVAX went to $33, which is still like, 70% down from that 134. Bro, and now it's at 6.6. Like, I can't even see where it was this low before now, bro. Like, before 2020. Come on, man. This CEO, we need more of him in the world because this guy is delusional. And maybe it's the delusional CEOs that will make I don't know, the big changes in the world. However, yeah, I'm not even gonna touch this or be anywhere near this because this looks sketchy.
You know what? Yeah, this is a fact. All treasury are down bad right now. Like even if you're a Bitcoin treasury, just look at MicroStrategy, is one of the more unique one. If you look at ETH, like Tom Lee, what did he expect? Obviously, maybe he would get better result because he's buying at lower prices. Because I don't think AVAX should be here in the next cycle. But the only treasury company that's probably in pro right now are Hyperliquid Treasury.
A lot of products in crypto are hurting right now and need that capital injection in order to see itself through to the next bull market and beyond. It's actually kind of a shame because I felt that AVAX had potential from the last bear market. That was one of the things that I projected could actually make a comeback and do well in the bull market just gone. But obviously, we know that didn't happen. And maybe if the meme coin stuff didn't pop off the way it did, the story would have been different. But yeah, in terms of AVAX and treasury and buying the stock, this is not something that I would advise anybody to go near. And I don't really see the tangible value in owning it. So yeah, I just think it's dead to stay away. On that note, we'll see you guys on the next one.